Hi, welcome to Community Focus here on Channel 6 TV. Glad you could join us tonight. We're going to tell you how you can get involved. And basically there are people all over the country that's doing things that's getting people elected, not elected, or they're sitting on the sidelines. And I've heard many people say, it doesn't matter if I vote, it doesn't matter if I get involved, it doesn't matter anything, because people are just going to do anything anyway. We're going to prove to you that that is wrong. We've got with us here Margie Bradford. She's the chairman of the Democratic Executive Committee here in Nelson County. And Margie, first of all, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Kenny.
Well, people can get involved. I mean, we see it on the grassroots level every day, and I know you're in the process of getting people involved right today.
Yes, I am. Every 4 years, as you know, in the presidential election year, the Kentucky Democratic Party, and in fact the Democratic Party all over the United States does this, but we totally reorganize on the local precinct and the county level, and again at the state level. And we're in that process now here in Nelson County. On Saturday, April the 2nd, this week, at 10 a.m., if you're a registered Democrat, you can go to your precinct polling place, wherever that may be. And we are trying to have a temporary chairman there, someone who will oversee election at that precinct. And the people who come to the precinct will elect a committee man, a committee woman, and a committee youth. The youth being someone 35 years of age or younger.
I'm just over that.
Just over that.
Barely over
yeah, me too, a little bit. The people elected at all 24 of those precincts will come together on April the 16th at 10 a.m. in the city council room. And that will be our county convention. And at that county convention, the people who are elected in all of these precincts will elect a Democratic Executive Committee. People can be nominated and elected. That would to 20 people, no less than 10, and no more than 20. And you should include including one person 35 or under on the committee. They will elect an executive committee for Nelson County. And we will also choose delegates to the state convention. And that would be 11 delegates, and 2 alternates will be chosen to go to the state convention. Now the state convention will be held on June the 2nd in Louisville at the fairgrounds. And at that convention, the party reorganization at the state level will take place. They will elect a new central state committee. Consequently, after the primary, when we have the primary here is May the 17th, on May the 21st, after the primary, each county will hold a county caucus. And at the county caucus, we will elect delegates who will go to the state convention also. And these delegates will choose presidential delegates. So you have 2 processes going on. The reorganization of the local party and of the state party, and on the other hand is the choosing of delegates to choose a presidential delegate.
So even though you're talking about the presidential race, everybody thinks, well, in Philadelphia they're going to have a big convention later this year. People don't know how people get to that convention. It's not just a bunch of big wigs that shows up. It starts the precinct level, the county level, the state level, and it's one. So anybody out there, there's a possibility you may be the person sitting on the floor of the convention at the Democratic convention in August.
Well, you could if you get involved, and all it takes is the determination that you want to be involved in the process. Make yourself familiar with what is going on, and work toward that and get involved. So we are, trying to publicize that, let people know about their rights. I also want to say that if you get to a precinct voting place And you know about this, Kenny, because you have been helping me. We are trying to have a temporary chairman there in each precinct.
Right.
It is not always possible to have someone there. We have not been able to get maybe enough people to agree in that district. If you're a registered Democrat and you get to your precinct polling place and there is no one there, at 10 a.m., that's when it's supposed to happen, and wait a suitable length of time, you may nominate and elect yourself as either a committee man, committee woman, or committee youth, 35 or under. Call me, and we will certify you as a representative from that area. There's an article in the Sunday's paper which gives my telephone number and my email address, how people can get in touch with me. And then if people certify them, bring in their paper to me saying that they're, that they showed up and they have elected and nominated themselves, I will fill them in on the proper packet, and then they will be eligible to vote on April 16th.
Okay, well, like I said, there's ways of getting involved, and obviously, this is the Democratic Party. I mean, obviously, the Republicans have their ways of doing things, but this is the Democratic Party process for this year. So you have to be a registered Democrat in order to be involved.
Yes, and I have a list of all the registered Democrats in the county. So if someone comes, I'll just have to check and see that they're on the rolls, of course, and then, proceed accordingly.
Well, everybody's been keeping up, I know, with watching the national news as to what's going on. So I think one of the things in Kentucky has always been we're sort of lagging behind because our primaries so late in the cycle that many times it's decided for it gets here. And it may be close to that now between Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders, but I think they're still going to be in play by the time we'd like to see both candidates in the state campaigning.
Well, that's exciting.
That'd be fun.
Do you remember? Do you remember Bill Clinton came here to stump for Hillary out to Nelson.
Well, Hillary came through because I remember she drove through Holy Cross, Kentucky. I cannot ever remember a presidential candidate driving through Holy Cross, Kentucky.
Well, if you remember, Hillary won this state pretty handily. So, it would be nice to have her come back again. And have Sanders to come back too.
Absolutely.
He hadn't been here, so he couldn't come back, but I agree. It makes it a lot more exciting if you can. It stirs up a lot more interest.
Exactly. So there's a lot you can do. There's a lot more you can do than just stuff put on a bumper sticker. Like I said, show up to these precincts. Precinct elections on April 2nd, and again the 16th of April for the county convention up at City Hall in Bardstown. And so just a lot of people, a lot of ways. People, I know. I guess it sort of frustrates me to some degree as people say they can't get involved. Well, everybody can get involved. This process, it's what has made us strong in this country. It's a process where every single person has a voice. You just simply got to show up.
Yes, you have to do your due diligence, and I think Ted Cruz is proving that in the Democrat and the Republican race.
He understands how the system works.
He understands how the system works, and he is, as we discussed earlier, in Louisiana, even though Trump won Louisiana, Cruz is ending up with 10 more delegates than Trump is.
Exactly.
Because they had people to get involved at the precinct level and the county level, and then at the state level when it came to choosing delegates for those. They just elected delegates who were Ted Cruz people rather than Trump people.
Exactly. So
because the Trump people had not gotten involved.
So it does make a difference in what we do here, and it does make a difference who gets elected. I mean, I've heard it said before, it doesn't really matter, but if you don't think it matters, you're not paying attention.
You're right. You definitely are not paying attention.
Well, you also got a dinner coming up here in a few weeks.
I do, and I really want to talk about that. That's on Friday, April the 8th. At the Maywood Country Club. Our meet and greet starts at 5:30. So this is our annual, and by the way, this is our 9th annual Jefferson Jackson Day dinner here in Nelson County, and it will be at Maywood Country Club. We have meet and greet from 5:30 to 7. And the reason we have a fairly lengthy meet and greet is so that all of the candidates who come and people come will have a chance to meet and talk with everyone in the room.
Well, that's my favorite part of the meeting. When time of dinner meeting comes around, I'm ready to go home.
Yeah, well, we don't want you
I like the meet and greet part.
And then a dinner begins at 7. The dinner program begins at 7, and we have a special guest speaker. United States Congressman John Yarmouth is going to be our speaker, and we're really thrilled about that.
Absolutely.
Really.
We've had some great speakers over the year. I know Senator Wendell Ford was there several years ago.
Well, he was our first Jefferson Jackson Day.
I remember that as like it's yesterday.
I do too. He really was. He did a wonderful job. And in fact, we have decided to dedicate this dinner to his memory. He passed away last year. He'd been our United States Senator for what?
Oh my goodness, about 25, 30 years almost.
Yeah, 34 years, I
Yeah,
think.
something like that.
And, he was just, to me, always a Kentuckian. I mean, he went to Washington, but he just went there as a visitor.
That's true.
He was always a Kentuckian.
Everybody's got a Wendell Ford story.
Everybody had. And so we thought this was very appropriate to dedicate the dinner
Well,
to him.
absolutely. Well, again, the Jefferson Jackson Day dinner, April the 8th at Maywood Country Club. Everybody's invited. Now, tickets are on sale. A couple places in town.
Yes,
aren't they?
at Kenny's Cleaners and at the Bourbon Marketplace downtown. The tickets are $35 in advance and will be $40 at the door. So we would love to have anyone and everyone to come and hear our special speaker.
And again, this is another way of just simply getting involved. And getting involved, and I found this, and I wouldn't be there to some degree, but it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's not just all business and all seriousness, even though it's a very serious subject we're talking about, but we have a good time.
Yes, and then you can really meet some very, very interesting people, and even if you don't agree on things, it certainly broadens your outlook.
I've never met two Democrats that agreed on anything. Well, Margie, I appreciate you coming in here today, and we appreciate you letting the people know how they can get involved. And again, give you a call if they get to the precinct and nobody's there. Give Margie a call so we can get your name on the rolls, and you can get involved. And we invite and welcome everybody. We don't turn anybody away. We really do want everybody involved.
There's the Democratic creed right there for you.
Well, maybe. Well, Margie, appreciate you being here. Margie Bradford, the chairman of the Democratic Executive Committee in Nelson County, and this year is the time to elect new officers, new delegates, and for everybody to get involved. So we'll see you in a few minutes. We'll take a little break. We'll be back right after this with more community focus here on Channel 6 TV. Be right back.